What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here in the Runners Apparel office, as you can tell, clothes absolutely everywhere. I'm getting ready for the USATF, aka Championship Men's, also known as the Crazy 8K. I'm going to be set up there with my business. If you guys don't know, I own a company called Runners Empire. So I'm going to take you through kind of the process of the nitty gritty of how a small business does this and goes into a show. You guys really loved it when I did the Flying Pig one up in Cincinnati. So if you haven't checked that one out, go check that one out. That's a really big show. So if you want to see it with hundreds of other vendors as well, go to that one. It's a more low-key, smaller show. So there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages going to a small show that I'll share with you guys as we go along in this video. If you ever thought about doing an expo, not even a running expo, just an expo in your business. So kind of take you through what I got to do right now. So the boring things that I had to do was put everything on hangers because it's normally just on shelvings. So I had to put everything on hangers and make sure to get it right. Like those are women's large tops, women's small shorts, small tops, so on and so forth. And when we come over here, here's all the men's stuff. The men's is just piled up here, and then got the mannequin all saran wrapped, grabbed all the socks, all the bottles, sunglasses, all that. So basically now I gotta grab some of my bins, throw them in there, and then load my car. So currently it's about 1 o'clock. The show is tomorrow. It's just a one-day show. You set up the day of, and it goes all the way through the night. I believe the show is from noon until 8 p.m. but the race is at 9. But I'm actually racing it. So typically I break down at about 6:45 or 7. Typically there's not many people at the expo anyway, so that's a perfect time for me to break everything down, get ready. So tomorrow I'll be leaving at around 8:30 or so. It's about an hour drive, so not too far of a drive. But I kind of got through all the boring stuff for you first. A lot of you know this, but if you don't know, it's just me for Runners Empire for my business. There's no help, no nothing like that. And this is probably, when setting up at a show, probably the hardest part where, I wish I had an employee at this point, just because hanging all these clothes and getting them all proper and things, you may look like, oh, it's not a lot. This took about 2 days of work just to get to this process, because I got to go through, what do I think is going to sell at the show? How many units of each thing do I need to bring? Looking at past years, this isn't the first time I've done this show. So I kind of have a general idea of what's going to sell, but at a show, you really don't know. You have no idea. But I know at this show, it's extremely hot, and I know people like bright neon colors at this show. A little bit of everything sells as well. And I'll kind of, as we move along in this video, I'm going to kind of update you guys on what's selling and things like that, really dive deep into it. I know a lot of you love hearing the ins and outs behind the scenes of how a small business operates. So one big thing, at the show, like at any booth, no matter what, you got to have kind of a piece that'll draw people in. And at the Flying Pig Expo, if you didn't see that video, please go watch it. It's such a good video. I love it because I really dove deep into this. The mannequin was a big piece that drew people in, that separated us from all the other vendors at this huge show. But at this show, that's going to set us apart, as well as we're doing our stainless steel bottles. Those did really well at this show last year. We're marking them all the way down to $15 clearance because we've had them for a while, and it's time to kind of clear them out, get some new inventory. And $15 for a 40-ounce stainless steel bottle will definitely draw some people into the booth. Before I start loading everything up, I want to talk to you a little bit about pros and cons going to a big show versus a small show. I'm going to compare Flying Pig because that was the most recent. Flying Pig, big show, around 40,000 people came through the door. Extremely expensive to set up at. Had to get a hotel, had to drive about 4 hours. Just very competitive in that show hall as well. People are there to spend money, but you're also competing with 100 other vendors and bigger players like your Hoka's, your Nike, things like that. So I'm competing with those guys. But there's 40,000 people that come in, so a lot broader range. Now the cons are, obviously, it's so expensive, and it's just you have to sell a lot of volume to make your money back and profit. Now the pros and cons of a small show. Typically, I don't do small shows whatsoever, no matter what. I just don't. I only do this small show because it is so close to me. It's about an hour drive. Don't really have to pay for a hotel. Just drive there, drive back, no big deal. and is extremely cheap. As well as the other pro is I am the only clothing manufacturer there. That's a big pro. And even last year, not last year, I was the only one as well, but the year before that, there was another clothing manufacturer, but they were just selling, your typical Nike and things like that. And when you go to these smaller shows, this one's going to be about 4,000 runners. They like to support the local companies, the local brands, things like that. So if you can, no matter what your business is, if you can find a local show that's not a lot of money, $100, $200, $300, that you can set up at, that has a lot of people coming to it, I'd recommend, but just be very wary, because, even though it's only $300 and you're not spending that much time, it spend that much, it might not be worth it. Like I said, there's a reason I don't do small shows whatsoever. I just do the bigger ones when I do them. I learned my lesson as a small business owner, going from small to somewhat big right now. So I definitely would not recommend going to small shows unless there's a lot of stipulations that work in your favor, such as mine. The things that work in my favor is, obviously, it's cheap. It's only an hour drive. It's right down the road. It's about 4,000 runners, that's pretty big. I wouldn't go to a show if there's like 1,000 runners, but there's about 4,000, 5,000 people that come to the door. As well as I'm one of the only clothing manufacturers in the Expo. The Expo is very small. So all those things combined makes it worth it for me. Morning is the next morning for me. Car all loaded up, ready to go. So, a little bit of bad news, good news. Good news, the weather's supposed to hold off. I've been very worried about the weather, canceling the show, all that, because it says it's supposed to lightning. Good news, I'm going to be able to set up, so that's positive. Bad news, may not be able to race tonight, just due to the thunderstorms might be coming in later. As runners, we can run in the rain on race day, but not typically in thunderstorms. Now, if you look on my channel, Flying Pig was a rare exception to the rule, but most races will cancel no matter the size. So midday checkup. It's about 5 o'clock or so at the Expo. I've been here for quite a while. Setting up was pretty stressful. It was just a lot for one person to get all that done, for sure. I don't know why. Usually I can handle it, but I guess it's old age. I'm only 26, but yeah, it was just kind of a long trek getting in. But it's been 5 o'clock. The interesting thing about this Expo is it's very busy at the start. So the Expo is from 12 to basically around 7:30. I start packing up at around 7 because I run at 9. From 12 to about 1:30, it's pretty busy, slows down, and then it gets really busy as we get closer to the event. Yeah, it's pretty dead right now at around 5 o'clock. Around 6 is when, that's usually where I make the most sales, like in the hour. I wish I could just set up from 6 to like 7. That'd be perfect. So yeah, this show is I always keep it in mind where it's a little, I guess, kind of scary at the beginning because you don't make a ton of sales in the beginning. You have to wait till later in the day because everyone has to pick up their packet and things like that. So, so far sales are going good. There's about 4,000 runners that come to the show to pick, and they have to come in here to get their bib and get their shirt and all that to run the race tonight. I would say only about 1,000 have come through. So quarter, maybe 1,500. Only about a quarter have come through. So yeah, but as you can tell, And just like that, back in the office, it is the next day. So let's talk a little bit about the race, about everything unfolded, all that good stuff, how the show went. Let me set you guys down. So, Expo. This Expo was definitely very different. Typically, you guys saw the setup and all that. Typically, the singlets are the best sellers, no matter what. Those are best sellers for Runners Empire, period. Didn't sell hardly any. I think 5 of them. I haven't been really going to any expos, and I don't plan on going on any because they're such a gamble. And this was a great example. What sold the most? Stainless steel bottles, stickers, and socks. Those are typically my worst selling items at all the other expos. So it was a very weird time. But the expo went great. You know, I set up every year just because it doesn't cost much money to go. It's right there. We're all set. So let's talk about a little bit of the drama. Don't want to go too much and relive that moment. But basically, storm came through, delayed all the races. One of the races got canceled. They have like a little kids race, the 3K, then the 8K. The 8K is the main event. Rain got in, canceled the little kids race, and all the kids and parents came into the expo, as you saw. And people were just acting odd, is what I could say. I haven't seen humans act like that. Just kind of no manners for anything. They were sitting in my booth, just messing with stuff. At one point, shelves fell in my booth. At one point, people were behind the counter. Because I had a pretty big space, as you saw. There were some like charging stations where you could charge your phone. People were behind there, and you know, my cash register is back there with all my money, and there was some words exchanged. I was getting very frustrated, and I had to rush to pack everything up in the rain. It was just a mess. Then getting into the race and things like that. So cleared my mind. Decided to just really relax. I had like 15 minutes till the race went off. After everything was said and done, change everything. Started to warm up a little bit. When I get like frantic like that, I usually do something stupid. And my warm up was like 6:30 pace for like a quarter mile. And I was like, calm down. I called my best friend, Jess, and she kind of talked me through it. So shout out to Jess. She kind of kept me calm before the race. And then they delayed it again. And, you know, the race was supposed to go off at like 8:59. And I don't think we took off until like 10:15. Yes, it was like 10:15. We didn't take off. Gun goes off. My PR is a 28:30 in the 8K. That was set earlier this year in Chicago. I was hoping I would be able to beat that. 3 miles in, or the 5K split, I was rolling with a group of guys, and we were right on pace. I think the 5K split was like 17:15, or maybe a little less. Rolling, feeling really good. And the 4th mile, I don't know what happened. I just slowed way down to like a 6:10. So I was running 5:40 and then went to a 6:10, 30 seconds slower. I was just tired, man. You know, working at the booth all day and then pack it up, and then it just caught up to me. But I didn't get in the mindset of, let's just slow down, relax, whatever, who cares. No, I tried to finish strong. So I made sure that last mile was sub 6. And I came through, I think my official time was 29:36. I believe that was the official time. So about a minute off the PR, given the circumstances of everything. I'm not complaining too much. I'm still pretty happy. So yeah, that's the end of the season. I am going to take 1 week off, just 1 week, and straight into Chicago Marathon training, 11 weeks away. A little insider tip, if you made it this far in the video, that's a reason why I've been able to stay pretty much injury-free my entire life. A lot of people would probably be like, yo, you got a marathon in 11 weeks, 12 weeks. Why are you taking a week off? It's important to take time off in the year, just to give your body a rest. I've been going since after Dopey, which was in January. So I've been going hard since then, and my body needs rest. The past week, it's really shown like I need to chill, relax. So got to take a week off and then get right back into training and ramp it way back up. But I have such a good base in me from this training cycle because I still kept my long runs 10 to 15 miles every single weekend since January. I don't really need a big base at all. I need to do, more long runs, the 15 to 20 mile range. But I'm not concerned about it. I'm going to enjoy this week off. Yeah. And just get ready for marathon training. So probably the next videos or so, I may take you around, I don't know, just kind of every day what I do besides running. If you guys want to see upcoming footage of that and more vlogs and things like that, please hit the subscribe button. If you're running Chicago, let me know. We're doing a lot with Runners Empire there. Every big marathon we go to, we just get bigger, 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 bigger. Boston, we really showed out for Boston. If you watched that vlog, please go check that out. It's on my channel. Giving free giveaways, free coffee. It's just getting bigger, bigger. So if you're running Chicago, please let me know. Anyway, guys, I will see you on the next one.